In production, we call this Take 3. Welcome to the Sonic Boomers podcast channel. I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
Desperately struggling to get through this show today. Not because I'm ill, just because it's been a few weeks since we've done a show.
Got rusty.
You would think that a guy who's been behind a microphone for nearly 50 years wouldn't get rusty. Yeah, you do. We have been away. We were out on a cruise. We were actually away on the Royal Caribbean Liberty of the Seas on the cruise to Halifax, Canada, July 15th through the 19th. So that was a short cruise. This is one of the three ships that is in what they call the Freedom class. There are three ships. One was built in 2006. That was the Freedom of the Seas. 2007, they built our ship, the Liberty of the Seas. And in 2008, they have the Independence of the Seas. So what are some of the amenities that you have? Well, I'll tell you, if our room was indicative of anything, we had a very nice stateroom, and it wasn't a suite.
No, I mean, we did get the handicap accessible, so that made it a little bit different than an ordinary stateroom. But it was...
This is our room, and it's a big room. This is one of the handicapped accessible rooms, but as you can see, it is pretty spacious. Here, there's our little scooter, which we own, by the way. You could also rent these if you need them. There's a lot of companies that do it. I think one of them is called Mobility at Sea. But this is one that we own, and it really allows Maureen to go jetting around the ship with me running in the background going, hey, wait up. Got a little couch over here. So we're doing a little 360 of the room. And we have a really nice big balcony. The seats, by the way, are nice and wide. I know Maureen had asked the cruise line if they could provide wider seats, and it looks like they did it. Now, on the ship, in addition to some pretty nice staterooms, you also have ice skating, what they call Studio B. And they have ice skating for passengers, and they also have actual shows and exhibitions of ice skating in there. And then, of course, you've got the usual amphitheater for the ship show, which we'll tell you about later on in the broadcast today, because I got to tell you, we saw I think the best show we've ever seen on this cruise. So stay with us. More on that is coming up. Then they have something called the Royal Promenade. And here's the Royal Promenade, set up like a city street. Promenade espresso, and of course, endless sales. Watches, jewelry. I'm not sure what this car is all about, but it's pretty cool. Here's a nice little wine bar. This is called Vintages. Here is the Hoof and Claw, sort of an English pub. This is Sorrento's Pizza. As you can see, there's a little bit of a line out here now, but during the evening, that line gets pretty long. It's a popular hangout after people have been visiting the clubs or going to the shows. This is a very thin crust pizza.
It is thin, but it's tasty.
And it's free. And they also have the Royal Star Lounge, which was fun. And that was probably, I think, where we spent more time than anything. This is where a lot of the shows take place and where a lot of the activities like the trivias and the bingos take place. Then there's another location on the ship, which is a smaller bar, which is called the Schooner Bar. Okay, we are now in the Schooner Lounge, and there's a couple of problems with the Schooner Lounge. During the day, they have a lot of their trivia games here. It is a relatively small venue. And you might be wondering about the MDR, that's Ship Talk, for the main dining room. And this main dining room was enormous.
It was a 3 decks, I believe.
3 decks. So let's talk about our opinions. So first of all, let's talk about the ship overall. What were your thoughts?
Overall, I liked it. Glitzy, and I felt it was very awe-inspiring. It really could take your breath away at some of the locations when you could look up and you could see up 12 decks high above you, and elevators and lights, and it was quite mind-boggling.
Which is something that has really been missing on some of the celebrity ships that we've been on, like the Summit.
Right.
We love the Summit. Don't get us wrong. That's like our home away from home. But it did not have the panache. It did not have the awe-inspiring views and architecture that you get on board the Freedom class ships on Royal Caribbean.
Right. The decor was quite amazing.
Even though they are owned by the same company.
But they're marketing to a different crowd, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Very definitely so. Yeah, I think it was a very nice looking ship. I thought the architecture, it's a little on the Art Deco side, which I love. And a lot of very interesting geometry. I thought it was overall a very attractive, beautiful ship.
The only thing I would kind of get points off on, it wasn't all that well maintained. You could see wear and tear in the room in particular, and some of the other venues, just a little bit drab, a little bit dreary. And I thought too, my own personal taste is for light and bright, and this was very dark and woody, kind of masculine vibe to it that was not my taste, but was nothing really wrong with it. It's just not my taste.
You did mention that to me when we were walking down the Royal Promenade, and I'm flipping out. I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. Look at this architecture. Oh, my God. And you were like, I don't know. It looks kind of dark to me. It looks kind of, I think you said dingy.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you talking about? You know? Which is the way I spend a lot of my life, saying to Maureen, what are you talking about? But I know what you mean. Cleanliness? Really? Were we on the same ship? I'm not sure that you and I were on the same ship.
Again, mostly it was our room. While they kept it clean and they vacuumed, they did all the stuff you're supposed to do.
Okay.
When you looked at it, the sofa had stains. The carpet was torn a little bit. There was a chair in there that was well past its
They
prime.
both had seen better days.
And for that, I would say I didn't think it was A+.
Although it was a very spacious
Oh,
cabin.
I would book it again. It just, you're asking me to pick on certain points, and that's a point that I would pick on.
All right. How would you grade the activities?
Oh, they were very good. It was a wide range of activities. There almost always was something going on that you could join in on. What I did not like with the activities was their choice of venues. They did not anticipate, well, I don't think, the crowd size, and they did not give the proper size room for what the crowd was going to be. And as such, we couldn't participate in a lot of the things we would have liked to have done because there was no room. There were no seats left. There was no room for the scooter. People were standing, back to back and side to side, and it really, we ended up walking away from it. We went down with every intention of being in the bingo or being in the trivia and saying, I can't do it.
And you had said, and this is something that happens on cruises, if you have a scooter, people are not paying attention to you. First of all, you're down below their eye level, so they're not even looking down at you. And when people are on a cruise, they're always walking around with their head up there, you know where, because they're looking around, they're distracted. And so they don't see that somebody with a scooter is trying to get through. So you said you get
You get 2 beep beeps and 3 loud excuse me's,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to run you
and then
over.
I'm going to run you over. And that's pretty much the way you got to be. Now, one of the things that people invariably ask you when you've been on a cruise is, how is the food?
Yeah.
Now, you and I, we've been on Carnival, Norwegian, Celebrity, and now we've been on Royal Caribbean. How would you rate the food?
It was good, but it wasn't great. I would say, surprisingly, the Carnival, which is the most economical cruise line to go on, to me, still had the best food we've ever had on any of the cruises.
I agree.
But the selection and all on Royal was it was comparable to the other cruise lines. I didn't feel like it was outstanding in any way.
I didn't think that the food in the main dining room. Now, we didn't do any of the premium restaurants. We didn't
No.
do chops. We didn't
No, we-
do
but
the
we
Italian.
never
place.
do.
In the main dining room, I would say that the food was basically what I would just call restaurant food.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't particularly outstanding either. And I think if you really want the outstanding stuff, especially if you're into like steak, like I am, you probably should go to Chops or something.
I think that's maybe part of what they calculate is that, they're going to give you something that's good, something you won't really complain about. But if you want over the top, well, you're going to pay for it.
Or a cover charge to use those premium restaurants. I was disappointed in the dining. Again, not terrible, but I did not come away raving about anything that I ate. Carnival has the best food. Of course, Carnival right now is sort of, a very troubled cruise line. We'll have a show. In fact, our next show, we will be talking about many of the issues that seem to be particularly germane to Carnival. And it's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
We should talk about the buffet.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Now, on this ship, we had all told, about 6,000 people between passengers and crew. It was 100% booked for this cruise. And yet, I can recall maybe only one day where the buffet was crowded, and that was the last day.
Right.
Because you had to be off the ship by 8 a.m. and the dining opened at 6:30. So everybody was piling in to the buffet to get their breakfast and get off the ship. But all of the other days that we were on the ship, I never had trouble finding us somewhere to sit.
Which is really remarkable.
Yeah, because on Celebrity, on the Summit, we've had a lot of problems on the buffet, to the point where we stopped going to the buffet on occasion and just going into the other restaurants just so that we could get a seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that did not occur here. There was plenty of seating for everybody until the final morning, to be expected. All right. Now, how did you find the crew?
The crew, they did their job well. I can't say that I ever felt neglected. I felt like they all did what they were supposed to do. Did I feel anybody really was outstanding? No. Did I feel that they went over and above what was expected? No.
I have to agree with you again. And we always bring cash. If somebody went really out of their way to be nice or to be helpful or very attentive, I remember our very first cruise again on Carnival, we had that guy, Charlie, our server in the dining room.
And this is like, 15 years ago now?
Yeah.
And we still
we
remember
still
him.
talk about Charlie to this day. But he remembered everybody at the table and what you liked. And, we have the chocolate lava cake again. I noticed that you liked it last night. Can I get one for you tonight? Can I get you two?
Yeah.
He was tremendous. On the last cruise that we were on the Celebrity Eclipse, again, the woman in blue was so helpful in getting Maureen seated and taking care of her scooter
and seeing that we got in and we got out efficiently, and she really went out of her way. And at the end of the cruise, we gave her a little cash extra gratuity for being so nice and so helpful. And we do it gladly. But on this cruise that we just got off, nobody really went out of their way.
Right. And again, it didn't make for a bad experience. I don't
No.
want to paint the picture that we were in any way dissatisfied with this cruise, that had a bad experience. We loved the cruise. We had a great time.
Yes.
And everything that we needed was there. It's just that there wasn't anything over and above, anything extra.
Right. Where at the end of the cruise, you say, oh, let me take care of this one. Let me take care of that one. Now, another thing that people are going to ask us about is, well, what was the show? What did you see? This was the best part of the whole cruise.
Right. You know, actually, up until that night of the show, I was kind of lukewarm on the whole experience. I didn't hate it. I wasn't having a bad time, but I wasn't amazed. I wasn't thrilled. I didn't have that over the top feeling until we saw the show. The show was Saturday Night Fever. It was a Broadway type production. It's an hour and a half. It was not one of those production number shows. This was an actual Broadway show.
Yeah, musical. Yeah.
Musical. Based upon the movie with John Travolta that we all probably know at this point. And the effects and the things that they did was just, I've never seen anything like it. Amazing.
I think they said that there were something like 16 or 17 different sets that they fly from high above the stage. They're on tracks and they're flats, but the flats were painted in such a way that you would swear that it was 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And they also incorporated film into this so that at the beginning of it, they actually come on with the Saturday Night Fever theme, and the credits were done like movie credits.
Right.
On a big screen.
As a matter of fact, they used the exact layout and font that they
Yes.
did in the movie, but they replaced those actors and people with the crew.
Right. And then there's the subway
Mm-hmm.
pulls in at the beginning, and they're I think they're coming off the subway or something, and they integrated the rear projection video of the subway in such a way that the live actors appeared to be coming off the subway, and you really couldn't tell for a moment where one started and the other ended.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible, and the performances.
Oh my goodness, they were over the top wonderful. Beautiful voices, great dancing. Just I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, and I thought the acting was pretty good too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get on board Royal Caribbean and you have an opportunity to see Saturday Night Fever as the show, you don't want to miss it. And we almost didn't see it, remember? Because it was supposed to be earlier in our cruise,
Right.
and they had technical problems.
They did. And they had rescheduled it for another night. And even up until that morning, they kept saying, well, if they can't fix the technical problem, what they were going to do was have the actors do all the songs, but it was just going to be like a production show. It was not going to be the Broadway show type thing.
Right.
And we went in that night anticipating just having the concert type of experience. And we found out that they fixed it and they were doing the full
Did the
show.
full show.
And, oh, I'm so happy
What
we
a
got
way.
to go.
What were your thoughts about Embarkation?
Embarkation was at Bayonne, or Cape Liberty, as they sometimes refer to it. And generally speaking, we always like that port to leave from because it's close to home and it's not a lot of hassle. I don't know whether they're, again, scaling down to save money or whatever, but they just don't seem to be quite as efficient as they used to be. We still got on the ship in under a half hour's time. It wasn't really terrible.
Yeah.
But in other times we'd pull in and there'd be people directing you and pointing your car, and you go this lane, you go that lane, pull into number 5, and there was none of that, and you were kind of like sitting there in the car going, what do I do? You
If we didn't ask people, we wouldn't have known.
know, we might still be sitting there in the lane.
We'd still be circling around trying to, figure out what to do. So a couple of points off on that.
And also the porters were not as helpful. Like a couple of cruises ago, we had an experience where we pulled up, the guy came running over to the car. Before we could even open the car door to get out, he's opening the door, he got our suitcase out, and he helped you put the scooter together.
And then said, you're going to
Right.
want to park in the handicap parking, go down to the garage. I'll wait here with your wife
Right.
to make sure that she's okay.
Which I really
until
didn't
you come
need,
back.
but it was nice.
In fact, the poor young lady that was trying to help me with the scooter had because the scooter is really heavy. And this poor girl was just struggling. She wasn't the person that you wanted helping you get the scooter out. But what I really did like, they have an app for Metropolis Parking, and you give them your credit card information. And when you go in, they photograph your license plate. And when you leave to come home, you don't have to go to a kiosk or anything. You get in your car and you drive away. And again, it photographs your license plate going out, and you're billed accordingly. You just drive in and drive out.
That was nice.
And that was really convenient. So things we loved, the show, was the ease of parking,
I think the accessible room.
accessible room. Did we have any regrets? Yes. Or
Okay,
at least I did.
What was yours?
Mine was that I was not nearly as active as I have been on previous cruises. Now, when we started cruising, I think we were both just turning 60. I'm 71 now. I'm discovering that there is a hell of a lot of difference between, say, 58, 59, and 71,
Yeah.
and more of a difference than I like to admit. And normally, in years gone by, I'd be all over the ship. I'd be everywhere, especially at night. I love cruise ships late at night when the activity has died down, people have gone to bed. And I love wandering around the decks and looking at this. And
You're the creepy old guy that they see wandering
looking at
around
that,
the
and I like chatting up the crew, and having little conversations with people. And I didn't, the last 2 cruises, in fact, I didn't do that. I was much more sedentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I really regret that because I feel that I missed out. There's 15 decks on this ship, and I think I saw 3 or 4 of them, maybe.
Okay.
And usually on a cruise, I will have seen all the decks probably. So,
Well, a lot of them.
that's
a lot of them. There's nothing to see because it's just staterooms. So you probably didn't miss that much.
Yeah. The old guy wandering around in the engine room, was probably me. So that's my biggest regret, that I did not do as much as I wanted to do on the cruise. And at the end, I was like, damn it, I should have done this. Damn it, I wanted to see that.
I think I don't know if I would call it regrets, but I think that the communication on the part of Royal leaves a lot to be desired. They do publish the activities on a paper handout. You had to go down to customer service to get that.
Right.
So you're looking on your app all the time, and you miss stuff. And I do regret that we didn't get the paper copy each day. And secondly, I also just kind of felt like we didn't plan our time as well.
You do have the app, but the app doesn't tell you everything. Maybe I'm just not used to using the app. I like paper. I'm a guy who likes reading a newspaper.
Yeah, yeah. I like the paper too because I think all the information was there. But when you're looking on your phone and it's like a little 4-inch screen or whatever it is, and you're trying to read and you have to scroll and you have to go side to side and large and stuff to read everything. On a piece of paper, it's all right there with no manipulation, and you can scan right down right away and see what's up.
So that is our analysis on our recent
Our
cruise
in-depth analysis
on-
by Pete and Maureen.
on Royal Caribbean Liberty of the Seas. What was
Just
the-
one more thing.
what's that?
The ducks.
Oh, we are no longer duck virgins. Duck with a D, virgins.
For those of you that may not know, a fun activity that the passengers do, are they bring these little rubber ducks to hide. And it started out, I think, more for kids, like a scavenger hunt for them to find them, and it was fun. But it's gotten to be an adult thing as well, too. And while we never actively looked for them, we never found any either. This time we found 2 ducks, and we were
Right.
so proud of ourselves and so
Yeah,
excited.
Yeah, we really were. We really were excited. It was really at that point that the crew started to turn around for us.
Yes.
You know, go figure. So, hey, listen, if you found this podcast interesting, enjoyable, informative, nice in any way, we would appreciate you giving us a like and appreciate if you subscribe to the podcast. Now, in a moment on your screen, you will be seeing a link to the last podcast that we did. And we invite you to be looking for our next podcast because we will be talking about the problem that the cruise industry is having. Make sure that you're watching for our next podcast when we talk about that. And now, as we leave you today, we have a special note here that the koala, that those of you who watch all the way to the end of our show, God bless you, we always have our logo, the koala, come up for Koala Tea Productions. And rumor has it that even our koala got into the cruising spirit.
That's what I heard.
So we'll see what he does at the end of the show. And as we leave you now, we're going to show you some footage that I shot on board, which really explains it all. If you know, you know.